class. We're excited about it. I don't think there's a whole lot of surprises. We got, if you add the 12 guys that we already have on campus here with the 15, that the new guys who signed letters of intent, we're excited about those guys. And I don't know where they are ranked. I don't care a whole lot about that, but I wouldn't trade this class for anybody else in this league. So we're looking forward to getting them in here. It's important. Our coaches, this staff's done a great job, and all I did was do what they told me to do. So all the credit for this recruiting class goes to Rev and all the people in our athletic department, our coaches, and GAs, and all that type of thing, because they're the guys who do all the work. All I did was got in a plane and went where they told me to go. So give all the credit to those guys. They deserve it.
Obviously, the big name here is AJ Leggett. Can you talk about this kind of last couple of days? I know you went that visit to Tennessee. What was that like for you?
It's typical. I mean, that's anytime you're recruiting a kid that caliber player, you know, you're gonna go through some battles, especially right there at the end. And until that fact actually comes in, there's always concern. I know Juwan talked to him multiple times last night and this morning, so did I. And you know, we felt good all along, but until that paper comes in, you're never sure, because you know, in the 30 years, I've always been burned once or twice. And I was hoping that wasn't one burn this morning. It wasn't. It was a good thing.
Can you talk about him though? What kind of impact?
He's an excellent player. I mean, he's what they say he is. I mean, he's got all the skills. He can play corner, which is what he's a big corner. He just loves to play the game. You know, if you talk about a guy that you want to draw one up, that's what he is. The thing I like about him is he loves football. He's tough. It's important to him, which that's what we want in this program.
Offensive line obviously seems like it was a big focal point too.
It was, and you know, just to sign those guys. We got a kid named Eric Gaines out of Georgia that's very long and athletic. You know, we signed him. We signed Tyler Combs. We signed 4 high school kids and a couple of JC kids. Gage Niemeyer's already on campus, and we got another junior college, Billy Rowan, assigned to us. So we hope to get him here in May. So it gives us some older guys, and we can develop those younger guys. But that's one area we talked all along about. We got to continue to fix. I think this will be the first time we've had 16 scholarship offensive linemen on campus. And that's where we want to be. Now we have to make sure that we got to get them playing. And they came a long ways a year ago. We got to take that next step this year. And those young guys hopefully don't have to play, but some of those older guys can come along pretty quick.
You've talked about it before, going through to be successful in Conference USA, you got to have a good defense, and it seems like you've loaded up a lot, especially that secondary here with these last couple of classes.
Well, if you look at our secondary class from a year ago, then you had Andre Scott, who can play for anybody at safety. Todd Hartley did such a tremendous job recruiting that kid, and then of course add Leggett to that bunch, add him to the kids we already have on campus. We're excited about the way those guys can play. That's what we have to have in this league. We have to have guys that can match up. And the one thing I'd like to get to defensively is be able to play some press man coverage, because you play the Houstons of the world and that type of thing. The screens and the quicks and all that. At some point you got to be able to get up and press, and we're trying to get that. I think we're getting closer to getting those kind of athletes.
Coach, how much did your success in the bowl game help in Florida recruiting up?
I think it was huge. I think anytime, I've said all along that anytime you can showcase your program on a national stage, and there's a lot of bowl games out there, but we were one of the few that was the only game on that night. I mean, there were some games there later in the year, and with the first of January, second January games, that type of thing, where there was 4 on at one time and you couldn't watch. But we were fortunate that our game was the only show on that night. A lot of kids got the opportunity to watch that and saw what type of team we had, the way we played, and they want to be a part of that, which is good. And to be in Florida was even better, because so those kids had the opportunity to see it.
That kind of helped branch you out of Palm Beach, Dayton, Broward into the other coast of Florida?
Well, we've been there. I mean, I've got 3 coaches. I've got 3 coaches that are actually recruiting the state of Florida. With Juwan, of course, in South Florida, Todd Hartley in Central Florida, kind of the Space Coast, Billy Lake on the West Coast, and then really have 4. I got Tony Peterson around Jacksonville in that area. So we're hitting that hard, along with Georgia, which has been good to us. So we've hit that, but to be able to pull a player like Andre Scott and Deontay Henderson out of Orlando helps. We got the center out of it's right there in Tampa, which won the state championship, and that's huge for us. And then of course Marcus Gilchrist from down in Charlotte, which is more south on the West Coast. So we kind of spread things out down through there along with South Florida. So we're kind of getting it from all over the state, and it's good.
Yeah.
speaking of coast, you went all the way to the West Coast for Gary Thompson. I know Van is from out there, but he had come east for prep school. How do you get connected with a guy like Thompson?
The head coach at Helix High School is a guy I coached with in Florida named Troy Starr. He was an excellent coach. He was at one state championships multiple times prior to going to Florida when I went to Florida. He's a good friend of mine. He got Trayvon squared away for us. And this Gary Thompson's an excellent player. He's a 10.5, 10.600 meter guy. That's a raw guy that we're really excited about because of Troy Starr.
It's kind of exciting now. This is your third class, and now going forward, most of these guys next season will be your guys.
Yeah, I think the offense. Look at the offensive line the other day, and I think other than maybe 3, maybe 4 guys, the other 12 are ours. And but you're right. 62 of the 75 kids we had were freshmen, sophomores on last year's team. Next year, I know we only have 6 seniors. That's it. So, we're getting closer to being our guys, and not that the kids that I inherited are great kids, and we really were big time as far as our success this season was concerned. So, those guys are here. We're happy we've got. We just added a bunch of kids that we're excited about.
Coach, were you looking for a quarterback, or just you found one that you liked?
We were looking for one. I don't think you ever go into I think every recruiting year you need to get at least one quarterback, because without a quarterback you have no chance. And we like what we've got, but be able to add Holcomb to that list. He's an excellent player from an excellent program, and we're glad he's here.
What kind of guy is he? What kind of player?
He can throw it, but he's athletic enough. He's probably similar to Frohnapple. Can run it and throw it. He's not quite as fast probably as Frohnapple, but he's got a great arm, very intelligent, tough kid that is the kind of guy we want.
Talk about picking up local product from California.
Yeah, we're excited about Riddell. He's a great student, tough kid that we're glad. And he's a West Virginia kid, and then of course Tyler Combs is not from West Virginia, but right down the road, and be able to add Clint Van Horn, who's on scholarship now, so he counts towards this initial class. So we really have 2 West Virginians, and of course with Tyler right down the road, we count that as West Virginia as part of our guys. But anytime we can get a kid from West Virginia, we're excited to do that. I'd like to have a whole team full of them. But unfortunately, there's not enough players out there. If there's a kid in West Virginia that we feel can win a championship, we're sure going to recruit him, and we're excited about the guys we got.
What's the plans for Devin Johnson?
He's a tremendous. He's from West Virginia originally, from down around Matewan and Man in that area. And he had 40 points and 26 rebounds in the last basketball game he played. He's a tremendous athlete that can run. He was under Louisville, Kentucky, and a lot of people came in there late on him. And I think we may have stolen one out of there because I like what it's all about. We had him in camp. He's going to give us the kind of athlete that we need at linebacker to be able to match up in this league against the Houstons, the Tulsas, and those people, because our second level players have got to become more athletic and more faster to be able to do what we got to do in this conference.
So you're looking more primarily to keep on the defensive side?
Yeah, it started out linebacker. We got enough tailbacks. I don't need a tailback. I need a linebacker that can run.
Yeah, one guy that's kind of overlooked maybe is Joe Massaquoi. He didn't sign last year, agreed to gray shirt, and so he didn't get any attention during recruiting this year. Yeah. So can you talk about him a little bit?
I love him. He's a great student, a great kid. I didn't realize he's as athletic as he is. He's been here now since school started, and he's 6'5", 6'6". He's gained 15 pounds since he's been here in 3 or 4 weeks, and he can jump out of the gym. He's a tremendous athlete that we're really glad he's here and we're excited about him.
Is it going to be good now to lead the other half of this class, the guys that are just kind of sitting around this past year? Guys like Samuels and Grooms. Can you talk about them? Obviously, guys that had a lot of hype.
Yeah, those are all guys that have to count these initials. What we have is we have 25 initials. So if you look at the 15 we signed, those other initials that we're talking about are Sean Samuels. Who's tremendous. You guys will show those guys on tape here a little bit. That you didn't have a chance to see them, last year. But you also got Steve Dillon in there, who's a tremendous player. You got Kevin Grooms, who's a tailback that's in that class, and there's a lot of guys in that class that will count towards those initials that actually didn't sign with us, but are part of the class of 25 initials that go forward with next year. So it's kind of a bit misconceiving what we do have in this class, because there's about 10 guys in there that are already here that aren't counted towards the ones we signed, which that's a good thing. If you look at the overall body of work in this class, I wouldn't trade it for anybody. I don't think you would either if you watch them.
Okay, can you comment on the 2 new non-qualifiers that are in school?
Well, they're not non-qualifiers right now.
Well, okay.
The other in school is Kent Turin's an excellent player. Went to sign with Georgia a year ago. He's in school here now. And then also Corey Tyndall, who's an excellent player. And again, those guys will be on that tape. But those are you know, they're not non-qualifiers until there's a final done, and right now that's not the case. So, you know, they're both in school glad they're here.
Doc, do you ever go back and evaluate a class, but just in your own mind about how it went, how it fared, how everybody did?
Well, you do, because, you know, what you try to do is, you know, yeah, we do that, Keith, and, you know, I'm really, you know, that first class we put together in about 2 weeks, and we lost a couple of those kids, you know, and probably if we'd had you know, more time to evaluate and get to know them a little better, that wouldn't have happened. This last year's class, you know, it was pretty much intact, except for maybe one guy. And, you know, I think there was 30 of them, and they're all still here, which is what it has to be. You don't want any attrition. You know, we're going to be at the point next year where we're about 82 to 83 scholarship players. I think we were 75 to 76 this year, so we're getting closer to that 85. Next year we'll be, you know, we'll be at 85 with no issue. And we'll probably have, going in, we'll have about probably 6 or 7 scholarships for next year. So that's a good thing. And that being said, we do, and the kids we have from that last recruiting class we like, and the ones from that first class. I mean, there were some good kids in that class. Gator Hoskins is starting to become a player. Kevin, you know, Kelson played extremely well for us. Garrett Scott's playing for us. You know, Philip Warren's in the world, and there's a lot of players. Daryl Roberts. You know, if you go back, you know, to that thing where we had about 3 weeks to recruit. I mean, there's some kids in that class that contributed, you know, heck of a lot to that. You know, to that bowl and to that season last year. We're glad. And then you look at the class after that, they're all still here, which is good. Then you add this class to it,